Hey guys, Matt from Eastwood. We're here in the Eastwood garage doing another live tech session for you guys. And we're going to do today on a cool little tool that we offer, the Mini Belt Sander. So if you guys are interested in this, definitely stick around, watch this, and you can join the chat on Facebook and YouTube. You can log in and actually chat with Scott, who's here as always.
Yep, so I'm on YouTube and Facebook. If you got any questions, read them off to me. I'll get them. I can take care of them, and then I can also read them off to Matt, and we can answer them live here. So let's see what's going on with the belt sander, Matt.
So this is a tool that may not use every time that you're working on your car, but the times that you need it, it's a total lifesaver. So this is we have two different models here. The one I was actually just using is our Pro Mini Belt Sander. So this little guy has a 18-inch reach on it, and it uses a half-inch belt that we offer in a few different grits. So we have an 80 grit, we have a 40 grit, an 80, and a 120 grit on this. So this tool is highly adjustable. It's got a Allen wrench key here that comes with it, and right on the top here we can put this Allen wrench in, and you just loosen it up, the pinch bolt a little bit, and we can adjust this pretty much at any angle that we want it to be. So it goes about 120 degrees is the adjustability on this, so you can get it in whatever angle you want. So right here is a perfect example on Cody's Camaro here that he's working on. He welded in some patches here with the MIG welder in the window channel, and some of the welds in here are a little proud, so they need to be ground down obviously so that he could fit the windshield in and it'll seal nicely. So these welds need to be ground flush. In this area in here it would be very difficult if you were using a flap disc or a grinder to get in there, and you'd potentially risk damaging the metal around it or burning through the edges because of the size of the flap disc. So with this you're able to get the belt right in here, and we can even get right in the center in the valley and sand in there. We're not touching any of the edges of the panel, so we don't have to worry about damaging the metal. We can also work on the edge here and work right down this seam here, and it's no problem at all to sand those and get in those areas, which is really nice. And I've sanded a little bit in here along this edge and right in the center in here, and it takes it down quick. If you're knocking down MIG welds like this, I definitely suggest grabbing a pack of the 40 grit. That will knock down these MIG welds really quick, and then once you get to a point that you're ready to do some smoothing, you can switch out the sanding, the belt. And on this one, it's pretty nice to change. I'll show you the other one in a second. To change the belt out, there's a little lever here that's spring-loaded. So you can push on this lever, and it has a little hook on it. I'll turn it this way. Maybe you guys can see the hook right there. There's a little hook on it. So you push up, and there's a pin inside, and we push in and release the pin, release the hook, and that locks it so that you can take the belt off. So we can quickly change the belt. So like I said, if you want to switch to a finer grit like 80 or 120 for finish work, when you're welding something or grinding a weld like that, you can quickly do that, and it's no problem at all. The tool only takes about, both of these tools only take about 7 CFM at around 90 PSI to run. So as long as your compressor can maintain about that, you'll be fine in running this tool. And the last thing on this one is it has an adjustable, you can play with the pressure here to adjust your speed obviously. So if you're doing something that's a little more delicate, you can turn it down. I had it turned fairly low on this particular, for this particular job because we're trying to get into a tight area. I don't want to get too out of control on it that it's going to damage the metal. So that's this one. Again, it uses a half-inch belt on this. So if you need something that's a little more delicate, it's almost half the price, but has a lot of the same features on our smaller one here. So this has about a 13-inch belt on it. There we go. So this is our little guy that has about a similar features. Has an adjustable head on it with an Allen wrench, same style, but it's only a 13-inch length on the belt, and the belt that it uses is a 3/8, so it's slightly a smaller belt on this particular one. I'll grab the other one here so you can see the difference in the width of the belts. There we go. Cool. So you can see the mini one, the mini, they're both minis, but the smaller of the two, has an even smaller belt. So this is really great for getting in tight areas that you need to work on to sand. A really good spot for this that we're going to swap around. Cody's car is a great vehicle to use for demonstration on this because he has a lot of metal work that he's doing. He has a lot of spot welds and things that need to be ground down. So Joe, I don't know if you want to if you can come around. You all right? All right, good. So in here, Joe's coming around. This is a perfect spot where trying to put a flap disc in there or a grinder is going to be extremely difficult. So he's getting situated. Bear with him.
Thank you, guys.
Hopefully you got your sea legs. There we go. So right in here, this has a little lip here where this comes up. If we were trying to hit that, I can almost guarantee the reason he hasn't done that yet is because he already did these with the flap disc on the top. But in there, you can't really get a flap disc in there to smooth out that weld without damaging the metal around it. So using one of these is really great because we can get right in there only on the weld. And I'm even keeping the tool so that the belt side, it has the little plastic on the side there. So I'm keeping it right to the side so I can't damage that metal. So you can see how quickly I took down that weld, and it's pretty much flush, especially for what he's doing here. That is definitely good. And it only took a few seconds. This was 80 grit. We were able to just sand over top of that, and it knocked down the weld real quickly. Didn't damage any of the metal around it, which is really great. So this is a good instance where having the smaller belt is really nice. We probably could have got away with the 1/2-inch belt, but it would have been we would have had to be a lot more careful in there. So with this, it worked really well. This one, the Mini does not have, I'll swap around here. The Mini does not have an adjustment for speed. It runs it wide open. You could still use the trigger to help change the throttle a little bit as you're working. But a lot of times you're running this at wide open throttle anyway, so it isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. Any questions we have on these at all yet?
Sure. One of them, see if maybe Joe can get close in on them. Somebody asked what keeps the belt from actually coming off the end of it, and I didn't know if you were able to show like the tracking adjustment on this. If Joe would be able to get in on that.
Yeah. So we have on both of these. Now, like I said, it's got a pressure adjustment. There's a spring built in here, so it's got also on the back side here on both of these. It's got this little plastic piece that goes around the center. That's going to keep it from coming off there. And we got both of them are spring loaded, so it's constantly pulling out on that. The key is that you do not want to, with this tool, you don't want to hammer down and push real hard because what can happen is you can actually release the belt. So you definitely don't want to do that. Let the tool do the work, let the abrasive do the work. You can put light pressure on it, but you don't want to push directly down on it because you could potentially slack the belt up and that could cause it to come off. But otherwise, the belt will pretty much stay on there with the tension of the spring inside and the rollers. And you set your tracking, and everything's pretty much good on these. Now, again, we do offer a couple different belts for these. You can get 40 grit. For the larger 1/2-inch belts, you can get 40 grit, 80 grit, and 120. On the smaller Mini belt with the 13-inch belts and the 3/8 width, you can get 80 and 120 on those. But that pretty much covers for small jobs like this. It's really good. It's also good for working up in wheel wells and things like that if you need to remove undercoating or something like that you're doing where you need to get spot welds at a repair an area. You can get up in with this, and again, you're not damaging it with a grinder trying to hit the metal all around it. So that's why these are really key. Any other questions you got, Scott?
No, we're good right now.
Cool. All right, well, I'll show you guys a little bit more here on the pillar. If you have any other last questions, definitely shoot them to Scott. Otherwise, I'm going to sand this a little bit and then we'll be done. But I want to show you guys this, the Pro in action a little more. So I'm going to adjust this a little more just so I can get in like that. So we can set our adjustment. I want to get in there and take care of that weld he's got right in the valley there. That's definitely would cause an issue if he's trying to put a windshield and a gasket in. So we're getting that down pretty good very quickly here. So we're got that pretty good in there. I don't know if Joe can get in there and see. We got, especially compared to some of the other ones he's got in there, we got in that valley really good. I could probably hit that a tiny bit more. What I would do is I'd drop down now probably to a 120 just to do a last little bit of touch up in there because we don't want to take too much material away. But we could do that right in there just to smooth it one last time. But that, you can see how quickly that took care of that little area. And if you're using a sander or a grinder that's large, you're going to have that issue where it would potentially be way too quick, or you could slip and grind and put a hole in there and causes more repair work. So this is perfect for that job right there. Any other questions we have, Scott?
Sure, yeah. Someone just tuned in late and just asking if you could reiterate what size belts
Sure.
are available for these units.
Yeah, so the belts on these, the two units that we're covering, is we have our Pro version and we have our standard Mini version. The Mini has a 13-inch length belt that is 3/8 wide. And then we have a Pro here that has an 18-inch belt that is 1/2 inch wide. And the only difference, they come in the same grits, it's just that the Pro version we offer a 40 grit for doing a little more aggressive sanding or grinding. But the two of these come otherwise 80 and 120 is the standard. Each of them does come with additional belts to start off with. So when you're working, you can get these, you can get going, you have a few belts to use. But they both have the adjustability and everything. It's the main difference is the size and also the adjustment that you can fine-tune with the fine-tune the speed. And obviously the motor on this, the Pro version, is a little more heavy-duty with it. But they require low CFM, it's about 7 CFM at about 90 PSI, and it works really well. Any other questions we got? That's a good one.
I believe as I was typing, I just heard you say how much CFM they are,
17, right?
7.1.
7.1.
I wasn't sure if I heard you say it or not, so I wanted to talk.
I said 7. You made me second guess myself.
No, you're close. So, yeah, 7.1. I thought I heard you answer it, and I wasn't going to re-ask it, but yeah, they're 7.1 CFM.
You scared me.
So they're not. They don't take a whole lot of air to be able to power.
Okay.
But other than that, we're good.
Cool. So yeah, these things you can grab if you want to get the Pro version. If you're going to be doing a lot of sanding and grinding, it's right around $75 for the Pro version here, and I believe it's right around $50 for the standard version with the smaller belt. So it kind of fits both of your budgets. If you want to, we also offer an adjustment on the Pro one that you can buy the adjustment so you can run the smaller belts on these as well. If you go to the product page with the links that's on the site here, you can go on there and there's an add-on right when you go to buy it on your cart. You can do an add-on and get the smaller belts to do more close and fine work with that. Cool. Any other questions?
No, we're good.
Cool, thank you, Scott. So that's all I got today, guys. Hopefully you guys found this useful. This is a tool that I recently put in my toolbox and I use all the time. So if you guys have any ideas for future broadcasts, definitely leave us a comment on Facebook or YouTube. If you guys are joining us late or catching us right at the end, we do offer this recorded version that you can view on Facebook or also on YouTube at any time, and you can watch the whole broadcast. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll catch you later.